So guys and girls, welcome back to another Space XPLR episode. Today with us, we're going to have two incredible guests, again, for the first time on Space XPLR episodes. So both of those guests coming from very interesting backgrounds. Of course, I won't be reading the entire bios because they're pretty long. It probably will take for 5 or 10 minutes with my broken English to read those. So now it's going to be just included in the show notes so you can read through them and get the information what these guys is all about. Of course, we're going to go in depth on all the topics included in the bio. So don't get far off. Keep watching this episode. It's going to be pretty incredible. So today's guest is Jason Michaud and Jawad El Houssine. So both of these people are pretty incredible, working some incredible stuff in the space industry. So I'm just going to let them to take it from here and kind of tell you a little bit more what type of projects are they currently working on. So if we start with Jason, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hello, I'm Jason Michaud. I'm originally from Dubreuilville, Ontario in Canada. And I live in the far north of Ontario. But that being said, we've been working in the VR and information technology industry for the past 10 years and been studying the market and going towards the opportunities with space because who doesn't like space, right? So it's been an incredible passion of ours, and we've been striving to help astronauts with coping with mental health in different sectors. But I could probably talk like 10 minutes just about my passion, so I'll let Jawad introduce himself as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, hello everyone. Thank you again for this invitation. It's a pleasure for us, for Stardust. So my name is Jawad El Houssine. So I'm coming from France, actually. I'm in Canada since 2 years, working with Jason. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of the Stardust. So I'm taking care of some of VR software we're doing there, especially the ELN project. Before this, I was in the entertainment industry, video games and movie. Such a great time. And yeah, as Jason said, actually, the space exploration, so it's like a dream. It's like something we dream when we are little. So being here, doing what we are doing now, it's a huge pleasure, and we will be very happy to share with you and your community.
Got it. So a little bit about both of you guys, because I just want to understand where you guys are coming from and what ignited your personal passions to kind of pursue this, this business and space industry, and maybe you can explain why choose VR as the business, in space industry as well.
So for myself personally, I probably for the past 15 years, of course, like most people that are passionate with VR, I started from a background in the video game industry as well, looking at how we can utilize the video game industry to see if we can do an impact in another way. And that being said, I always had a passion to be able to see how I could utilize my skills and to help improve lives. And I always wanted to see if there was a way that I could tie sort of like the video game industry, but at the same time figure out a way that I could save lives and also have a lot of fun doing it. And that led us to the looking into the VR technology that was emerging quite a bit in the past 5 to 7 years, with starting with Oculus, and we've been looking at this industry, and it's just crazy the amount of great stuff you can do for medicine, mental health, and even for training and stuff like that. And that's kind of what propelled me. And to be honest, I'm really glad that we're going in that direction. So.
Got it. So for Jawad, can I ask you the question kind of on a passion side? Because I know we have the short film that's called Beyond Polaris. So was that one of your passion projects that led you into space industry, or you kind of been passionate before that?
So I'm passionate about space since I'm little, actually. So it started with a very famous show. I'm sure you know it. It's Target, AG1, actually. So we have In France, it was a very sci-fi show. And you know, when you are watching this show, so the actors, they meet new people, new extraterrestrials, as we say, new languages, new environment. They travel through big spaceship and things like this. So I was really little, and I said to myself, wow, that's incredible. I want to do that. I want to find a Stargate here on the Earth and travel beyond the solar system. So, but of course, I was little, so quite naive, but the world is much smaller than the universe of Stargate. And
that's why you came to Canada.
yes, yes. And beyond this, my passion from space start here. So at the time, I didn't know I will work on the space industry. So I met Jason at 14 years old, so quite early. We start with video games. And after this, beyond our studies, so I really wanted to make some a sci-fi movie. So in cinematic, in 3D, CGI. So I read something, I read some little script about it, and I work with some team in France, Storms Entertainment, and they say, yeah, it's good, it's pretty good idea. It looks like Star Trek, it looks like Stargate is UN, because you have this big portal where you can travel beyond the galaxies. And yeah, Beyond Polaris, born from here, from this main idea. And of course, beside of this, we was working with Jason to make an incredible things for our company, Stardust Technologies, through the aerospace industry, because as Jason says, the virtual reality, it's a wonderful tool. It's something that will explode for the next 10 years, even 20 years. So Facebook, they saw that by buying the Oculus, the previous Oculus team. So, and also we have space agency, such as the European Space Agency. They invest a lot on this. And actually in the Columbus module, in the ISS, they have like a machine, computer and VR headset for this kind of purpose. So this is the future. We want to explore this path, and we are pretty sure it's gonna work. It's a really interesting technology for everyone, astronauts and civilian astronaut, when private company will permit to people like us to go to space.
That is awesome. So I want to talk about a little bit more about the Stardust, so people will understand what type of experience that we're talking about. As it says here on the website, and Jason has kind of mentioned off camera, he said, people are now experiencing this tough times with the COVID situation, when they have a lot of kind of mental, issues, because they spend like almost, I think, more than a year at home, and for a lot of people, it's very unusual to spend, to work at home, to spend time at home, to, just to stay in in these four walls. So now we're talking into, as it says here on the website, taking a leap into new dimension where fiction becomes reality. So can you explain, how does the Stardust, this VR experience works, who is it for, and how it will disrupt or change the space industry as well?
Jawad?
Okay. Well, lot of things to say about this. First, I will start about the mining industry, because I'm sure you saw that in our website. So again, VR technology is something wonderful. You can put anyone in a VR training without hurt them in the reality. Especially here in Canada, so they have a lot of mining industry. As a French person, I didn't know. For me, in my point of view, I thought mining things doesn't exist anymore in 2020. But no, in Canada, they have this all of mining, and people die about this. They have accidents, even if they put a lot of money on the safety. And we saw that those mining, they try to find the best way to have easy training, to making scenarios, and to put those miner in such like how to say that, a really realistic training. So we can, with this idea, to use virtual reality, not only also haptic feedback suits to feel various environments. About the healthcare industry, it's quite the same. I will give you ideas that you might be so on YouTube. For example, Microsoft are working with a lot of university about this. So doctors, you know, with their HoloLens, they can make surgery in real time. They can show them. It's like sci-fi, you know. The sci-fi become reality. This is what we say in our website. And of course, the space industry, again, you mentioned the COVID-19 was a pretty mess, especially for people. They developed a lot of PTSDs. It wasn't easy. The human being is not used to live in confinement like this. So for astronauts in the space industry, they know that since 60 years, 70 years, since they start to go to space. So with this kind of technology, we try to make we are not heals people, we are not curing people, but we try to make the life better, to find a smooth solution without using medication. So we believe the VR technology can help us on this way, if I reply on your question.
And that being said, like you were saying about COVID-19 and the fact that a lot of people have been in confinement, like especially in the big cities where they only have small like cubicle apartments, where we're fortunate sometimes in the north we have a lot of space. The big issue stems from the fact that they couldn't go out, and that's been causing a lot of people to go a little bit crazy at times, and I don't blame it. And they can see that astronauts are experiencing the same issues out in space. If you're there for 6 months and you can't go on Earth, you can't go anywhere. Imagine if you you got to put yourself in their shoes. Imagine if you could not go to the supermarket. It's even more extreme than a lockdown. So that being said, most astronauts got to cope with that on a day-to-day basis and got to cope with a new world. So that being said, that's where the idea is. It really goes towards to being able to help these astronauts cope with their mental health by creating scenarios for them to feel like they're at home.
Got it. So is this technology now, as far as I understand, it's available for the space agencies or private industries, or this is available for day-to-day people? Because I love the fact that you mentioned you want to talk about, again, lunar and Martian gravity and things like that, because we're on a verge on becoming these multiplanetary species. At least it feels like. So what you see on the news, we talk about, our Artemis mission going back to the moon and, going and creating, bases on the Mars as well. So is this available for people to train, as a scenario where you're going to be in those environments of, again, 4 walls, you cannot go for a walk, you cannot take your dog for a walk, you're going to be in this place all the time. So is this available for the people for now? With this VR technology, or are you just sourcing this technology to the private industry?
Okay.
For
the time being, we've been focused more on the public and private industries. That being said, we are looking at focusing this for civilian astronauts down the line, and potentially for as I said the other day by accident, I called the humans Earthling. But that being said, there is a branch that will go down the line if all goes well. That being said, we are looking at utilizing the technology on the project Blue Abyss. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's actually based in the UK and it's being built in Cornwall. They are doing underwater facilities where you're going to be able to confine yourself for long periods of time, so that you feel like you're actually like in space to some degree, because you can't exit, right? So we're looking at collaborating with them to be able to bring this to the civilian side of things. That being said, for the time being, we are focused on the private and public sectors. And Jawad can add to that if there's anything I missed.
No. Well, at this stage, the project is still in R&D, so we for now we have no idea when we will commercialize this software. But as Jason said, yes, of course, we have a private purpose on it and a public purpose with the space agency. So yeah, I think, Jason, you said everything.
Got it, got it. And there's a website that's called Stardust technologies.com. Of course, it's going to be placed in the show notes, and with the rest of the links, which there's plenty, like 10 links that you can go and follow, Jason and Jawad himself, and, connect personal and ask more questions. But again, I love the fact that you're, using this, technology and creating it. And something else that you wanted to talk about is Project Eden. So is that something similar to the VR technology, or that's something else completely different that you have going on?
So about Eden project, we are utilizing, well, I will start with a little quick summary, maybe, about Eden project to introduce to you and the audience. So the Eden project is a psychological experiment aiding the astronaut with mental health in space and assisting them to cope with confinement in space through medical activities and entertainment. So as Jason said, so astronauts stay a long time in space, between 6 months up to 1 year for some astronauts, and they have to deal with confinement in a small space. Most of them, when they stay long time in space, they come back with a high PTSD. So which is dangerous for themselves and for the mission they carry on the International Space Station. With the Eden projects, we are utilizing several technologies. So we have the virtual reality, the augmented reality, of course, and haptic feedbacks. So the haptic feedbacks, we can measure and evaluate the astronaut level of stress. And with our AI, we can generate exercise, and it will allow them to reduce the stress. So for this part, we are, of course, in collaboration with the National Research Council Canada and the Canadian Space Agency. So they are helping them, them in the scientist part, in the medical part, because in Stardust, we don't have the skills to evaluate those data, but also they are helping us to conduct those, this experimentation in the microgravity flight here in Ottawa. So to better understanding the zero gravity, of course, but not only the zero gravity, the Martian gravity and the lunar gravity. So lunar gravity is 1/6 Earth of the Earth gravity, because why the lunar gravity is very simple. It's because Canada is involved to the Artemis projects with NASA, which means the Canadian, the CSA will be able to send 2 astronauts in the Lunar Gateway Station by 2024. So the CSA, it's really interesting to have this kind of software, this kind of help here from Canadian company to develop such experience who can help astronauts on this mission. But to reply to your question, you are not only utilizing the VR, other things, as I said.
Got it. So you mentioned one thing that, of course, I want to ask you about, Sarah Reka. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I want to ask you, mentioned, AI. So can you talk about the virtual model that you personally created, and, what do you think is about AI? Because it's a very, interesting topic. Again, a lot of people go for it, against it. So do you think, again, using AI in the space industry, especially with the VR or different technologies, is going to, which ways it can benefit? Can it benefit? What's your personal opinion about?
So firstly, I won't be able to talk about Sarah in the Stardust project, Indian project, because we are doing some stuff with other partners and even the CSA and NSA. So I will start like globally about AI. So AI, it's a wonderful tool. So it will be something that we will use it in honor for every day. With AI, we can analyze data which human can't. Though, when you receive an amount of data, the human mind, they cannot treat all of this data and act fast to choose something. AI, they can do that, especially by ML. We call that ML, machine learning. So they are learning about yourself. So this is what we do actually in the project without entering in detail. So when the astronaut is using Eden project, the AI will learn about what he's doing in this software. It will measure, and all of this data will be treated by the AI, of course, but also by true doctors, so human doctors on Earth. So they will be able to follow the stress level of the astronaut, of course. About Sarika, she's here for a purpose. I'm trying to find the good word without without saying too much. but I would say it's like an avatar. So this is only, what can I say? It's only an avatar with a lot of purpose, meaningful purpose, and we will be able to say more in a couple weeks or months after we will finalize some tests we are running on there.
Got it. So what other ways would you say, AI can benefit, as you mentioned, when it comes to, handling your own personal self, psychology issues, in space and those type of environments and microgravity. So what other probably potential, problems or things, artificial intelligence and machine learning can, what ways it can solve these problems or to create something that will, help us to propel into this, multiplanetary species kind of scenario. Like, what do you see coming up, from a tech kind of perspective with the AI as well in the space industry?
So, well, I don't know if you're familiar with Star Trek, but you have this character whose name is Data. So it's simple. It's like the perfect AI for the space exploration. It will be a character like him, Data. So it's someone who can manage everything. It will help the humans being to find the best settings, the best parameter to make this mission. But it will also handle everything by itself. I know the Canadian governments are putting billions on AI because everyone knows this is it will be the future. Same for a lot of Europeans country. The things with AI, it's to make an automatization of the system. For a very simple example, in the International Space Station, they have a very hard exercise they have to do every 2 months. This is with the Canadarm2. Sometimes they receive some payload, some cargo from Earth. They have food, they have supplies and everything like this. And they have to manage to capture it because we have this technology, but it's really rare to, the cargo can directly dock itself alone to the International Space Station. You only have two. It's SpaceX with the Dragon crew, and you have the ATV from the European Space Agency. Beyond of this, it's only the Canadarm who have to take it. So you have humans who are controlling these things. And it's really hard to do it in 0G, because in 0G, you don't have this perspective because you lost your inner ears and you don't feel the vision is really, really different. So AI will be able to handle this. You can imagine in the future, the AI will directly pick up the cargo and put it in the International Space Station, on Moon, on Mars, or in everything. This is where the AI could be very, very useful for human in the space exploration.
So I love the fact about the docking because, I just can imagine how hard it is in those type of environment and those conditions to dock an upcoming cargo to the ISS. So if the launch is successful, we're just going to assume, but so do you think that AI should be used entirely, that humans probably just step back and, with a certain input, of course, because we control the input when it comes to AI, right? So we manage that part, but do we think we should step back and let the technology take over from here when it comes to space exploration again, or people should still be part of it, or should be kind of the frontiers in the industry also? Still,
okay.
From my perspective, I believe it should always be an hybrid. There should always be a fail-safe, no matter what. Doesn't matter what it is. We watch too many sci-fi movies to know where this is going. Just joking aside, there should always be a human input, because you never know. Technology is unpredictable. We try to make it perfect, but again, like humans, we're not perfect. Same thing as technology, it can never ultimately be perfect. So it's always good to have a hybrid solution where you can also take control if something would happen if you're in deep space or whatnot. I'm not sure if you watch, there's a newer Netflix series, I think it's Lost in Space. No, not Lost in Space, there's another one, but anyways, the AI basically malfunctions and they lose full control. So ultimately, you need that backup control. personally, but Jawad might have a different opinion on that.
No, I absolutely agree with you. But you know, to reply to this, to answer this question, we are already giving too much importance to automating things, not only AI, but critical automating things. Well, a launch, for example. So when a rocket launch, it's automatic. So, you know, they have the ruler, whereas the angle of the rocket have to follow a path to orbit around the Earth. It's not human who are doing this because it's too critical for doing this. So it's only a machine, robots, and computer who are doing these things. It's same for docking about the Soyuz aircraft, and the Dragon from space. It's automatic. So we are already using a lot of things about. It's not AI, but it's computer automated transfer. So, but yes, we need to have like hands on it from human. So like that, if something is wrong, if we lost power, for example, it might happen. We lost power, that human, someone can, you know, manage the things by itself, not only machine.
So how do you think, guys, you know, we as humans can propel us personally, you know, faster into the future? I mean, you know, of course, there is people just like Elon Musk is talking about merging with AI using, you know, Neuralink and those type of things. So how do you think, you know, AI can benefit us, you know, is there when it comes to day-to-day lives? Because now we're talking about space and we have all these millions of people and they're talking about like, oh my God, I have to bills to pay and things like that. And I know that you're part of the, you know, it's called, what is it called? XRE mining software. I don't know if you can talk about that, but again, the, you know, cryptocurrency, a lot of people talking about kind of being the future. So I'd love to get your personal thoughts on that, about the, you know, just the monetary side and the way people live, and how does that would change our personal future as well.
Yeah. So from the perspective of let's talk about the perspective of jobs and stuff like that. So if we look back several hundred years ago, when the Industrial Revolution was starting and machinery was starting to take over, a lot of jobs were diminished, but ultimately it created way more jobs in the creative way. It also created a different demand. With every positive comes a negative as well. For an example, when the internet came, a lot of people were fully against it because it would destroy a lot of livelihoods, but ultimately the human adapts and creates new markets, such as if you look at, for an example, we're talking on the internet right now, like let's say 25 years ago, most people would be doing this on the radio or something like that, and it would have been ultimately very hard for us to connect. Since you're in Ireland and we're in Canada, that would have been super hard, right? That being said, it's the same thing as well for the farming industry. When they started bringing tractors instead of the horses and stuff like that, the people that were working on those farms had to create new opportunities. But from there, a lot of them started creating the machines that worked on the farms, and all the redundant work that a lot of the humans are not too keen on doing is being replaced by machinery, so that there's more room for creative jobs and new opportunities. And I mean, it's a cycle. It's been happening for the past 2,000 years, probably the past 10,000 years. That being said, if you even when the caveman invented fire, right? Or farming, for an example. So that's my perspective on that. But I'll let Jawad add more.
Well, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty agree about what you say. New technologies are here, you know, to benefit the humanity, to benefit to a way of life. This is where it comes from. This is what the human does since we have monkeys and we evolve like what we are nowadays. So yeah, we just have to be careful that we are not utilizing this technology to kill each other, such as a nuclear bomb, for example. But beyond this, the AI will certainly benefit our daily life, for sure. So we saw, I have this I remember about what Google introduced recently, the AI you can take appointment for a barbershop.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. So you're just talking with your phone, take an appointment for 10 a.m. tomorrow, which these services, and you do it for yourself. So I think it's really good. Same when Microsoft, they show something that you can order a pizza just by speaking with Cortana. So those things are really they are like easy, but they can help us a lot, not only for us but also for disabled people who cannot type or they have trouble to speak or anything like this. So it will certainly benefit for all humanity, for sure.
Got it. Well, I definitely can see the benefits of all of that, of the technology, emerging in our lives and helping us, again, as I mentioned, people who are disabled, because there's millions of those people, again, people who don't have the education, maybe they don't have the possibilities to have the right education. So talking about that, because I know both of you guys are well educated. So like, what would you say for the audience, for the young audience who's watching or listening? Like, what is the right thing to pursue when it comes to education? Because as you're saying, the jobs will become, again, the ones that are low paying, let's say somebody is opening the door at the takeaway, or they do this low paying job. So those will be gone very soon, right? So for those people, it sounds very scary, but of course, a lot of windows and opportunities will open up. So what would you recommend for the people to start educating about? Is it computer science, getting involved in the space industry? Like, what will be your personal thoughts and opinions on that?
For myself personally, I strongly urge the youth to pursue their passion, even if people try to stop you. I've had many people from 10 years to 15 years ago try to tell me, don't do this, don't do business, don't be an entrepreneur. You're not going to last more than 4 months. And look at me, I'm still here today. That being said, it's a mix of education and a mix of willpower. And your determination is going to be the key to your success. And really pursue what you love doing and be good at it. And really, don't give up no matter what. There's going to be bad days and you're going to want to give up, and you're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this? It's not about money, it's about passion. And I really think that the youth can follow what they love doing and find creative ways to adapt to the new market, whether it's space, whether it's mental health, whether it's music, whether it's writing a book, whether it's doing any creative work, or even refining and redefining. There's always going to be a utility for different things that relate to a passion. For an example, someone that works in the automotive industry can start doing a podcast about the automotive industry, or they can look at the adapting it to hydrogen or electrical or whichever like that. But ultimately, it's about your drive and your passion. That's my take.
No, for me, I'm 100% agree with Jason. I don't think for youth people, I would say go there, go there, go there. I would just say do whatever you want. Those are jobs you dream for. IT have a certain future for sure, especially for AI and stuff like this that we're talking about. But I won't recommend any young people to go there if they are not passionate by these things, if they are not passionate by computing, by IT things, because they will suffer, to be honest with you. It's not simple when you have to learn this different language programming and it's awful. It reminds me of bad memory in university. So I think you need to be passionate in 100%. Whole jobs, they are all same for me. Someone who's doing the bakeries, someone you doing he's a builder, anything like this. So just do what you want to do, follow your passion, work hard. As Jason said, things will never be easy for anyone, for the richest person in the world and above and under. So follow your passion, follow your dream, and the key of success is here.
So can I ask you, both of you guys, like, who is your personal inspirations and why these people or events inspire you the most?
I was always told never to idolize too much people, because you're gonna end up what was that thing there? You're gonna end up disappointing yourself. But I mean, that being said, there is a lot of inspirational people in the market, not in the market, but in the world. And I mean, I give kudos to all of them. We're all humans at the end of the day. No one's above each other, even if they've done great things. I think we should always be humble. But that being said, I do admire the work that Bill Gates did over building Microsoft, and Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. All these great people have achieved feats that were basically impossible to some people, and I believe that it was all the drive for passion and the drive to do what they loved doing. It ultimately led them to where they were. I mean, when I visited Silicon Valley 2 years ago, it's incredible where they started from. And I mean, from the little garage. So that being said, I mean, it's really anyone that idolizes people that are like not giving up out there. Everyone that's out there, it's a shout out to everyone that's working really hard and trying to do what we're doing at the same time. My kudos to you. It's a mental battle upwards, and don't give up.
It's pretty same. So for myself, I'm inspired for all of those people, of those entrepreneurs, scientists, and everything like this, who never give up. Actually, so Jason said, of course, the man of the 21 centuries, but we have also Albert Einstein, when back to the 1920 and 1930, or everyone thought he's a crazy man when he's talking about the space-time. And finally, find one of the complex theorem in the world, the general relativity. So he never give up. He tried very hard. Only his wife believed on him until 1936, when he came with all of the things, and all of the scientists was, finally find it. So same for Hubble. Hubble he was a banker, and he found something incredible in space. That's all of the galaxies are expand, and it could, in the billions years after, make collapse the whole of universe. So everyone thought he was a crazy guy, because he's a banker. He's not a scientist, but with his little telescope, he succeeded to find all the things. So all of those people, they never give up. So they was all passionate by what they do. It could be space, hits, or anything like this. Same for Marie Curie in France. Very big physician here we have in France, because women at this time, it was very hard for them in the beginning of 20th centuries to be a strong personality, but she never gave up, and she became what she do right now. So yeah. For myself and for everyone, we need to be we need to follow all of those people who never give up, for sure.
Got it. So none of you mentioned people just like Mark Zuckerberg and things like that, because it's all about, I think it's all about leaving the positive input, which a lot of people, I think, would agree. Some of the companies, just like my personal thoughts, I don't think Facebook is leaving a positive input in society. And the people that you're talking about, like Bill Gates and, Elon Musk and, Albert Einstein, of course, they're leaving a positive input for the world, that will last generations to come, So we're talking about a different mentality. We're talking about the legacy as well at the same time. So what are you guys thinking about, best case scenario? What is going to happen with your company, and what is your plans for upcoming, 5 to 10 years?
Well, the plan is to touch down on the moon, but ideally, we will be able to help the wonderful people that are going to space, whether it's from astronauts to the tourism industry, and we'll be able to, as a social enterprise, save lives and help create technologies that are going to be greener alternatives and ultimately benefit humankind. That's our main focus for the next several years, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think Jason said everything for the company. Yes, of course, we want to succeed about what we are doing right now in the company, but also we give a huge importance about the socialization of our enterprise. We like to help the youth. We are involved with First Nation here in Canada. So we are close with them. We want to show them this passion we have in about technologies, about science, about everything. So yeah, we are not like this. Well, we hope we will keep this mind to stay this simple mind, just to be humble and simple. This is what we wish for ourselves, and of course the success about our project.
So can you talk about a little bit, again, you mentioning about the moon, when you're going to be landing on the moon. So are we talking about, creating, let's say, scenarios of using VR for some sort of, operations where they're going to be, of course, we will need people who will be doing and handling, major issues. So let's say somebody, has an emergency and they need to do an operation. So are we going to be, training people before that happens? I mean, how far do you think VR can be available and how it can be used, on the moon base or on the Mars at the same time? Or this is just going to be used here on the planet to train people before we're going to go to Mars and the moon?
So of course on Earth, those people, those astronauts actually who are going to the moon, they will have a special training on Earth. Firstly, they will learn how to use those kind of technology. I don't think it will be VR because VR are not meaningful for this kind of procedure. Augmented reality, yes, because they could be assisted by a doctor on Earth, because the distance between Earth and the moon, it's not huge. It's only 1.2 seconds. If we have to speak on this way, 300,000 kilometers. So it's not too far. So we still can have like a communication. But still, those technology will be 100% helpful. They will have the AI again. We talked about the benefit of the AI. The AI will be able to help them how to do this surgery. You can see like sci-fi things. They show you some dots in the body. Okay, you have to open here. You have to take off this. You have to replace this, and etc. etc. And help them to do the job properly. The good thing is the moon have gravity, so which is very good for vessels, for blood. It means the blood will not float everywhere because liquid, it's really unstable when they have no gravity. And I believe you got this discussion actually with the Dr. Sharona here in Canada. I saw one of your videos, so she explained the things very well. So yes, technology speaking, it will be a huge thing to have those goggles on the moon.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a mix of AR and VR, depending on the input. If you're doing like training or assisting, it's going to be a mix of everything. So yeah, definitely.
Got it. So what personal missions you guys are looking forward to? Because we have a lot going on. Again, when it comes to either private companies or space agencies, again, what you have in Canada, maybe you can talk up from, Canadian Space Agency side, like what particular missions Canada is working on, anything exciting to share?
So, we can talk about the public aspect
Sure,
of what CSA told to the world. So, of course, I'm working for the Canadarm3. So, Canada, they lead on this market of about robotic in the aerospace industry. They built the Canadarm1 for the space shuttle. They built the Canadarm2 for the International Space Station right now. And they will build the Canadarm3 for the Lunar Gateway. So, the Lunar Gateway is cooperation for all of the partners in the Artemis program. So you have the European Space Agencies, Canada, the Australian Space Agency, JAXA, etc. I will not quote all of them. And the CSA is involved to build these sophisticated arms, or will build actually the station. So we need to understand one thing is the Canadarm is a really important piece, because it's from this piece astronaut will be able to build the station. This is what we did for the International Space Station back to 2000. And it will be set for the Lunar Gateway. We will send one module, and they will send the Canadarm3, and from this, they will start to, like Minecraft or KSP games, to build the moon station in orbit around the moon. And also, what the Canada is involved, of course, it's about the VR. They do a lot of VR software. We have this university in New York. They have one of the experimentations, the Vection project. So they try to understand the perspective, the Vection, for astronauts. As I told you before, there's some difficult, to measure the distance in space. So it makes challenging to conduct the robotic arm. And yes, we have a lot of companies here in Canada who are involved on this end. We are helping the CSA to achieve this purpose.
Mm-hmm. Jason, anything you want to share again, maybe in Canada or maybe worldwide that you're paying attention, or maybe even some, competition, we can say that, or some other similar companies that you're like, man, like these companies, I like what they do, or, anybody that you're paying attention to as well?
Oh, I mean, ultimately, like Jawad said, our main focus has been the Artemis project and the Lunar Gateway. That being said, we've been paying attention to a project happening on Earth itself, like the Mars Institute, and we are actually in talks to sending Jawad himself to Antarctica for 1 month for social isolation to test out the technology. He volunteered himself, so
more isolation. Okay, that's awesome.
So, but that being said, it's pretty much the same as Jawad said from a personal level.
Got it, guys. Okay. So, yeah, so it's really exciting. I mean, I love the fact it's probably both guys are the first people, again, to talk about, VR, and that's how it's going to be used in space industry, which, again, before, humans was going to be making any major mistakes. Of course, we have the technology just like VR where we can train people, astronauts here on the planet in comfortable surrounding conditions and make sure that they're trained enough before they go into, 0G, before they go into microgravity, and they cannot make, those major mistakes. So this is really important. I mean, technology piece that you guys are working on. So, again, we're just waiting here because I think some of the people who are watching or listening to this episode, they would like to get hold of that technology themselves. And because I know there's been a few guys and girls on the podcast who are pursuing to becoming astronauts. So I think they would love to, explore this technology themselves and see what type of benefits it can bring to them as well. So, it's awesome. I guess I appreciate you again for what you do. It's really cool.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. And if anyone listening is ever interested, we're always opening doors to collaboration and discussion to see if there's a potential synergy. So feel free to reach out to myself or Jawad at any time.
Got it. Okay. So that's really great because I think that's part of that, because the space industry, it's still brand new. Like I had one of the people on the show, his name is, I can't remember the name, Robert Jacobson. He has the book, it's called Space is Open for Business, which is, I think, I'm halfway through the book right now, and he took him like 4 years to write it. So it's a very interesting book. It talks about a lot of business, brand new startups in the space industry. So it's very fascinating. And a lot of those companies are, either merging or creating partnerships. So I do believe in the power of that, of, collaborating and, creating something special for the people. Because at the end of the day, we have nothing else, just space, and we need to collaborate on some of the projects that's really difficult, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we either win together or we lose together, and I'm a firm believer of winning together. So
here you go. That is awesome. So, okay, guys and girls, all the links are going to be there in the show notes. Of course, we didn't probably talked about a lot of the stuff because, as you see here, these people, including Jawad, couldn't talk about some of the stuff. But hey, look. All the contact details are going to be available, so if you want to shoot them private message and ask them questions that you particularly want, it's either about VR or again maybe about AI models, Sierra, could be that, could be XR mining, cryptocurrency. Again, these people know a lot of different stuff, and especially when it comes to software development, companies, space companies. So make sure to keep that connection going and to contact with people. And last thing, guys, I want to ask you, if you pass this episode to your friends, it's not because I need the subscribers, it's just because we need more people to get involved into the space industry, whatever way possible. We need the artists, musicians, business people, software developers, computer scientists, like engineers. We need a lot of people. And I think both of these guys will agree with me here. So again, as I said, make sure to make a connection with both of these cool guys. And until then, I will see you in the next episode. And don't forget to keep exploring.
Goodbye, au revoir.
Goodbye, everyone.